Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. The Islamic economic thought, the Islamic economic scholar that we are going to talk about today is Nizam al-Mulk Tusi. The name itself is a pride. We are now coming back to Persia, the Khurasan area, because we in last scholar we went to Qurtuba, right? He comes from Ibn Hazm, comes from Qurtuba, but this scholar is coming the other side, the eastern side. So there's a west and there's a east. This is the Khurasan area, the Persian empire. But by the time that we are talking about now, it's actually going to be above 1000 AD. So this scholar was born in 408 Hijri, which is equivalent to 1018, and he died 1092. So this is the 11th scholar, 11th century scholar. Yeah. So his name is Abu Ali Hassan ibn Ali Tusi, and he was known by the honorific title by the name of Nizam al-Mulk. You know, it is a name. It is called order of the realm. So this is what Nizam al-Mulk was given to him. That's because he was the prime minister of his time. He was the prime minister, and coming from very low profile, and he was able to reach the high profile. And also he is an address for Seljuk Empire, because the Seljuk Empire was once, they had conquered most of the places, starting from what we call today Iran, and what we call today the part of Iraq. So Iran, Iraq, then slightly go up, you will see the Central Asia. Today we have this Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, you know, Tajikistan, everything. Then you go slightly until Turkey. So they were covering all this, other than the Hijaz, what we call Makkah and Medina, the Hijaz, those areas. Other than this, they were covering the Seljuk dynasty, covering all these places that I told you just now. It happened during the 11th and the 12th century. Later, it went to Khwarizmi. But this was the time that actually Nizam al-Mulk was in action, and he's a great scholar for political science as well, not only for economics, because his thought is most probably, it is called political economics. As I told you earlier, if you remember, those days economics and politics was not two separated discipline. It was one discipline, and this administration and management comes under Siyasat. That's why many scholars, you see, they wrote books on Siyasat. The name, the term, it's not only meant for politics, that what we call today, but those days Siyasat, it contains the meanings of administration, management, politics, governance, statesmanship. All this comes together, what we call Siyasat. So this Nizam al-Mulk was actually one of them. Also, the historians call him as he was the de facto ruler of empire for 20 years. This is where you will also understand that What is the power of prime minister in a country? What a power of a democracy in a country whereby you have the military power, and then you have the elective, which is actually democracy power. You can see it today, nowadays, even you will see that a few countries are suffering because of this clash, the conflict between the military and the governance, and then you can see that military is winning. That's because they have weapons, and the governance and government, the people in democracy, they don't have any weapons. They can only come to the street and they can only voice out. Like what you saw a long time ago, few years back, what you saw in Egypt. This is what we call the Arab Spring evolution. You can, if you remember, it happened like around 5 to 7 years back when Morsi was in position. So you can see that the military wanted to take over, and they took over the country. That's the reason why today we have the president in Egypt. Is actually he used to be the military military head. Yeah. So similarly, what's happening today in Myanmar, the recent one, if you want to see right now, you can go and check. You can see lots and lots of news in BBC and CNN. You will see what's happening in Myanmar. People are suffering. They are coming to the street. That's because the prime minister of the country is down, and the military took over, and they claim that the prime minister did this, did that. You know, so many conflicts inside, and you can see the military and the prime minister, and how you can see that the military sometimes they doesn't need to listen to the prime minister, because the military they works under direct order of the monarchy in some places. Like you can see the military under the president most of the country. Sometimes even it's under the queen. If you ask me, some places like in India, if you ask me, there is a president of the country who controls the military, and then there is a prime minister of the country who controls the entire democracy. Country like Malaysia, again we have Agong and then prime minister. Country like UK, they have also queen, and also they have the prime minister. Country like America, they don't have that. There is only one president, and he is actually controlling everything. Right? Country like there are differences, of course. You know, this is what actually today we have the differences, but Nizam al-Mulk can give you an idea of how he handled the situation. Especially, he works under Seljuk Empire, but there is a Seljuk Khalifa. According to the history, in his own time, it was Alp-Arsalan. Maybe the name, I think some of you already heard, is quite famous name, Alp-Arsalan, Alprslan. Alp-Arsalan, you can see many. This is a famous name in Turkey as well. In Turkey, there are so many. We also had a professor in Istak long time ago by the name of Alp-Arsalan. I only know through him the name. But later I came to know that wherever I go, I have this name always, Alp-Arsalan. If you happen to see, there are some videos, there are some series, some web series also under the name of Alp-Arsalan. So there is a king like Alp-Arsalan who is actually Seljuk dynasty king. Definitely, there is another. The other side is actually in Arab country. Of course, the Al Jaziratul Arab, what we call it. Those days we call Hijaz. It comes under Baghdad. We had Abbasi. Abbasi also were ruling at the same time, concurrently happening. See, we are actually slowly moving. Yeah, we are moving from first, second century. Now we are in the fifth century Hijri, which means that we've been moving from 7th century of AD until 11th. Now we are in 11th century AD. So now you can see that the expansion is happening, but at the same time, when Muslims are conquering the new places, the new place has their own people that been ruling. So this is one Seljuk. The Seljuk, as I told you, this is what we call it um, Turco-Persian combination. It is called Seljuk. I have to give you the right name. I can say that this is what we call it is a high medieval Turco-Persian Sunni Muslim empire. Yeah, it started from Central Asia to Persian Gulf to Anatolia. Anatolia comes from the Turkey. So all this, it started with Tughril Beg and Chagri Beg. These are the two brothers. They are the one who founded this Seljuk Empire. And the first Khalifa was the son of Chagri Beg, who is Al-Parsalan. Al-Parsalan was son of Chagri Beg. And Nizam al-Mulk, he actually was, even he was working under the father, and then he came under the son as well. So I will tell you later how he became the prime minister, from what to what. Yeah, that's also quite interesting to know. So the most important contribution when we talk about Nizam al-Mulk is actually the word itself, Nizam. Most of the subcontinent, I think, including Malaysia, the Southeast Asia also, we have this system, we have this education system, what we called Nizamiya. Maybe in Malaysia you don't call it Nizamiya. Maybe like what I mean by that is like a pondo that you have. This system of madrasa, pondo, or we call it in subcontinent, we call it Nizamiya syllabus, that we have the system. This Nizamiya is actually started by this Nizam al-Mulk. Just imagine millions and millions of people, studied. Even in fact, myself also, I came from Pondo. So millions and millions of people have studied this Sharia from this kind of setting. And when he is the one who started this in Seljuk Empire, and from there it went all over the country, all over the world. So they had this system called, teaching Arabic, teaching tafsir, teaching hadith, teaching fiqh. All these things started from there, teaching even tasawwuf, teaching even, aqidah, usuluddin and usulul fiqh. Today, we have it in a modern setting, what we call it university, right? But those days, it was in very small circle. They call it halaqa, and they started madrasa in every country, in every regions. And Imam al-Ghazali, this is the most important point. Imam al-Ghazali was his one of the staff. So when Nizam al-Mulk was actually arranging or developing this, establishing this madrasa system, Imam al-Ghazali was the first teacher to do that. He was working under Nizam al-Mulk Tusi. So in fact, Nizam al-Mulk, when he saw the eminence, the value of the Imam al-Ghazali, he offered chair for theology. He offered, Nizam al-Mulk actually offered chair for Imam al-Ghazali. We call it chair for theology. So this is what actually the most important contribution that until today it is in practice. And most of the time I wonder, what exactly the scholars in the past have done that we are still continuously doing. Because I remember the hadith when Prophet ﷺ said, there are only three things that you can do and you can get rewards even after you die. So this hadith is actually, it's a hadith every single day surprising me. Because Prophet said, every son of Adam, when he die, his rewards also will be ending. Because, if there is no petrol, how the car will go, right? So as long as there's a petrol, the car will run. But when I don't have life in my body and I became mayyit, I became dead, then definitely my prayer, my tilawah, my good actions, my good activities, everything actually stopped. Then Prophet said, except three things. Except three things. If you have these three things, if you have done something for this based on these three things while you are living, while you are living, and if you have done these three things, there's a possibility that you might get reward even after you die. To me, it's like the most beneficial investment. Because look, people are looking for investment whereby they want to invest in a rightful company or industry where they will get their profit until they die. Even they wanted someone to get the dividend, the profit, until even for the children. So this is what actually we always look, right? Where should I invest? As an economist, I think you all will be thinking about it. Where should I invest? Or you might become a counselor to give counseling to tell people that where should they invest. But I give you counseling now, where you should invest for akhirah. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually giving the counseling where exactly you should invest so that you can get your reward abundantly. Even you go and you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be seeing the mountains and the mountains of the rewards, and you will tell, Ya Allah, this is not me. Maybe there is a mistake. This is not this is not me. I didn't do all this. Allah will say, yes, you did, because you follow this, you follow that. You did something where actually you keep on getting the rewards, and even after you die. So Prophet ﷺ said three things will continuously, so also Prophet ﷺ actually categorized by saying these three things. I can see the categorization. Number one, Prophet said, if you have ilm, because those people who got ilm, knowledge, they don't have money. Those people have money, they don't have knowledge. So if you are the scholar and if you graduated, you have enough knowledge, so make sure that you teach others. So when you teach others, when you give the knowledge to somebody, and that somebody, based on the knowledge that you thought, and he will work on it, and that somebody, if he teach to somebody, somebody will work on it. So until the day of Qiyamah, if people working on the knowledge that you spread, you will be getting the reward until the last person work on it. So you will get your share. In a easy terminology, I can tell you this is what we call MLM, multi-level marketing. You can see that there are so many scams in MLM. So this is the pure, the rightful way of MLM. If you want to really to get the share from the marketing, this is the true marketing that we have to do. This is the first thing. The second thing, Prophet said that if you have the money, this is the other side. People, maybe they don't have ilm, but they have money, they earn something. So you have money. So make sure that before you die, you put it in a right place, you make it waqaf. And you make the institute running. The more you work hard, the longer the institute may run. It's not like that. Okay, I have this 100,000 ringgit. I just want to uh, give it to some place. Maybe that place took your money and then they spend it. They spend it for the good. That money might be finishing, the reward also finishing in that. Maybe for one, you get one layer of reward. But how do you get multiple layer of reward? How do you get it? This is where the economist must come and think. Because we know how things will work. The money will work. We know better. Who else know? We know better than anybody else how money will work. So how do we institutionalize this money so that, it could be a water program. It could be commodity exchange program. It could be, the transportation program. It could be, even a place where people relax, like garden, like taman, like this kind of padang, what we call it. It could be anything where it continuously is there. It could be a building, that building completely, entirely waqf, so that all sort of activities happening in that building, and you are getting the reward for it. It's not that easy. It's not that you have money, you can do. You should have money. You also should have the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then if it is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it is accepted by the people of the earth, the things will continue and then you get reward for it. This is what everybody wants. Trust me, when you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when put myself, when I see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't have to go and tell, Ya Allah, I was a billionaire, I was a trillionaire, I was a zillionaire. Allah will tell you, what is it about? What is it that you are talking about? If there is no proud moment for me to tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, Ya Allah, I am the one who was the top 10 richest person in the world. Allah will ask you, so what? So what? If I go and tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I did this, and because of me, alhamdulillah, people, I did this for the well-being of the people. I did this for the sijahtara for the people. I created this system so that, the animals can given good place to live. I made this system. I created this system so that the poor people can come and can have their shelter. Or at least I became the part of the program. Maybe it's a huge program. Hundreds people like us do it. I was one of them. So this is the proud moment that I can go and tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the second category. The money. If you have the money, if you want to become millionaire, which one wants to become millionaire in our group? Who wants to become millionaire? Safina, Adam, you want to become millionaire? Or Arshad? Or Haniza, who wants to become millionaire? Yes, you can become millionaire. You can become millionaire, but with this purpose. If you want to become millionaire with this purpose, you are most welcome. I want to earn money. This is my purpose. I want to earn money so that I can use that money for something, so that which can actually help me for my hereafter investment. This is not easy. Sometimes we have this intention, but later shaitan will come and deviate. And then we start buying Ferrari and Mercedes and all. And we spend all the money here for nothing. So this is what very important. So we need to have this intention. If you have that intention, yes, go ahead, earn money. Good for you. That's why earning money is not something that all the time is bad. The purpose will make it right or bad. So whoever has this thought, so please go ahead. So number 3, Prophet ﷺ said this. Number 3, he said, Walad Salih. This is especially for each man and women. This is amazing. Let's say I don't have enough ilm, enough knowledge to spread. I don't have enough money to make waqaf. Don't worry about it. What you have is actually your own child. Because you have brought a life to this world. You have created a life. You have this with you. Now make sure that you properly nurture it. You properly bring it out. You properly make sure that he is the good person. That's not difficult to do, because every one of us will have child. Sooner or later, we are going to have child. That's why marriage is very important. So if you have that kind of thinking that I don't want to get married, please change your intention. At least for this reason, please get married. Some of us thinking like, okay, I might get married, but I don't want children. Please don't do that. Have children. Please have children. At least for this reason. It will help you. Because that good person that you are bringing up, and that good person will be the reason for the good thing in this world. And your son will bring another grandson. And then the grandson will bring great-grandson. So remember, until Qiyamah, if this continues, everybody, whoever do good thing, whoever pray, whoever fast, whoever do zakat, whoever do the good thing, we might not know. Maybe after 100 years, one of my great-grandchildren, became a great scholar, became someone, maybe a prime minister or president, who knows? Anything possible, right? So now, the way that I brought him up, or I brought her up, if I do that, that child will become something. That child is actually becoming my investment for my akhirah. Right? So the reason I'm bringing this hadith is just to give you an example of what Nizam al-Mulk has done. Look, he has created this system called Nizamiya. Hundreds and thousands of people already been graduated from those madrasa and Pondo. And they are the one actually became the reason they spread Sharia everywhere. They are the reason why today we learn Quran, we learn Hadith, we learn Quran, Tafsir, Tilawa and everything. They are the reason. That is the reason why, we started, this is the reason why Al-Azhar also started, because of that. Al-Azhar started after this. So you can see that today, even until this university, today we are learning something. So I'm just surprisingly seeing this person, Nizam al-Mulk, has the hand on it. And he is the rightful person who started this. I will be thinking how much rewards this guy is getting, this scholar is getting. Unlimited rewards. Every time we talk about the Nizami syllabus, he's the one. The Nizami syllabus is what I'm saying. The syllabus that they are teaching, the curriculum, the course outline that they are teaching in Pondo, Madrasa, and also the Islamic universities. And this is the man actually who started it. All right. Other than this, Nizamiya, he also wrote a book called Siyasat Namah. Siyasat Namah is actually translation. It is a book of government. This scholar is mashallah. He wrote that book not based on his knowledge, also based on his experience. A prime minister is actually writing a book of governance. Just imagine. A scholar is becoming the prime minister, and the prime minister is actually contributing to the welfare of the knowledge, and then he is writing the book of the statecraft. This is also called al-Mulk or Siyasat Namah. The word Namah is actually comes because of the Persian word. Yeah. Other than this, he also wrote Dastur al-Wuzara, the conduct of ministers, and then Safar Nama, the book of travels. So these are the contributions of this book itself contains 50 chapters, spreading over the task. Even it talks about the factors of the political success, royal prerogative duties, along with the administration of every single department. He talks about it, how to plan running a successful government. He talked about it in this book. It's a big book, and the significance of this book is actually he brought many principles of domestic affairs. Also, this book is an expression of a realistic political theory. So this is where actually the ministers and the prime minister, the one who came after him, this book has become the manual of manual for governance. Okay, so now let me tell you about how he became the prime minister. Yeah, so this is what his life. You can see Khaja Ali Abul Hassan Ibn Ali Ishaq, or commonly referred to Nizam al-Mulk, was born in 408-1017 AD. His father was appointed as a tax collector of Tus. I think if you remember the word Tus, we talked about it during Abu Ubaid, by Abu al-Fadl Suri, the governor of Khorasan. His early education, his early own education was in study of Hadith and Fiqh. He also learned from famous scholars like Abd Samad al-Funduraji. Also, he learned from an outstanding Shafi'i alim, Shafi'i scholar, known by the name of Imam Muwaffaq of Naishapur. Naishapur is actually a city in Khorasan, a city in Iran. After his studies, Nizam al-Mulk, being a Persian, was to begin his gradual and eventual, initially unplanned, administrative mastery of the Turkish Seljuk Empire. He organized a system of education and started regular madrasas and founded several important colleges. Nizam al-Mulk administrative acumen also brought progress to the infrastructural and economic development of the empire. It is thus not surprising to read various awards of recognition of the scholar. Both Al-Parsalan was the king, and also Malik Shah was the governor. The Abbasid Khalif al-Qa'im. The other side, there was a Abbasid Khalif al-Qa'im, dignified him with the title of Radi ul-Amir al-Mu'minin, which means that a favorite favorite person of Amir, which is called Wazir. Later, Malik Shah also awarded him the high title called Atabek. The word Ata means father. You won't believe, this is actually a Turki word, Atabek. Atabek, I think in Farsi also use the same, I guess, meaning father, lord. I surprised why this word Ata is actually coming when it comes to my own culture back in India, because we are actually we are from Kerala and Malabar and also Tamil Nadu. These are the places actually very close to many business people coming from, especially the sea route comes from Yemen, comes from Turkey, comes from Iran and Iraq. These are the places. In fact, even from Africa, from Somalia also, because if you look into the Indian Ocean, it's quite big, and also you have the Arabic Ocean. Then you have all these comes together, so you have a vast area of traveling. So what I surprisingly saw in my culture, we call, as a Muslims in India, especially in my place, in my region, we call our father, like you call Ayah, right? You call Ayah, right? We call him Ata. So I didn't know for so long. Why is that? Because the same region, the non-Muslims in India, they don't call this word. They call Appa. They say appa, like bapa, like papa or bapa or baba. So these are the words they are using, but only Muslims in India, particularly my place, my region, South India, we call it atta. I didn't know for so long. Why is it actually we call my father? Why did I call my father atta? Then later I came to know that it is a Turkish culture that we took it, and here also you have the evidence. It is called Atabik. It's because Father Lord. Huh? Okay. Maybe if one of you, if any of you also call Atta in your own family, please let me know. It is good to know actually. Okay, so this is his work. Like I told you earlier, he has three works. He has not more than three because he was a prime minister, so you can't expect more. But unfortunately, right now we have only the Siyasat Namah. The other two books we don't have. It's no more in existence. Siyasat Namah, the book of government, also known as al-Mulk. The second one is Dastur al-Wuzara. This is actually he is writing something about the conduct of ministers. So as a minister, what they should do. Also known as a Wasaya al-Khawaja Nizam al-Mulk, the precept of Khawaja Nizam al-Mulk. Even this word Khawaja also, um, I think the first time in the history we are coming to know this word. You know, the word Khaja is something very familiar, but not in this world, not in Southeast Asia. You don't have the name Khwaja. Do you have the name Khwaja? Anyone here? In Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, do you name Muslims? Do they name by the name of Khwaja or Khaja? Not Kajang, yeah. Okay. So, but if you see India subcontinent, this is a quite famous name. It is a Khwaja actually. They also call Khaja without W, Khaja or Khwaja. So this is also a kind of a title for Nizam al-Mulk, Khwaja. Then you have Safarnama, the book of travels, reported to be no more in existence. So this is the positions. So I just want to give you how he became the prime minister. It started at his very young age that definitely he wanted to go and look for some posting. Of course, he was a scholar. He learned so many things, like I told you, hadith and fiqh and everything. But he wanted to, definitely, he was looking for some job, and then he actually went to Ghazna. There's a place called Ghazna. In Ghazna, during his time when he was very young, there was a Ghaznawis. I think the same Ghaznawi is actually the one who actually came to India as well later. That's why Ghaznavi or Ghazini or Ghaznis, there are so many. Even this Ghaznavi that I'm talking about, the family, the tribe that came before the Mughal, because we had a Mughal empire for so long, more than 700 to 800 years. But before that, these are the people who came first to India. Of course, they came, they wanted to conquer India. So they came through Sindh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and then Delhi. So, okay, anyway, this Ghazna was the place before Seljuk Empire, but they were under the war zone. They were fighting. So, Nizam al-Mulk went to Ghazna, and he was actually had an opportunity to become one of the administrative work. All right. But when one of the Ghaznavi was murdered, the Ghaznavi governor was murdered in Ghazna. Of course, Nizam al-Mulk, his life also was in danger, so he escaped from that place. Then he went to Balkh. This Balkh, there's a place called Balkh, was under the service of Ali ibn Shadan. This Ali ibn Shadan is already a governor under Seljuk Empire. As I told you, Seljuk Empire was under Chagari Beg. The son of Chagari Beg was Alp-Arsalan. Okay, when Nizam al-Mulk went to Balkh, and he was there beside the governor working again in administrative work, but he was quite famous in calculations and recording the taxes, so many things. But again, but Nizam al-Mulk was not very happy with this governor in Balkh, maybe because of the too much work, maybe because of the annoying of the governor. So he wanted to go to the other place, where actually he went to Murf. In this Murf, he met Chagari Beg. Chagari Beg is the father of the Alp-Arsalan, who actually appointed him as a counselor. See, from administrative assistant, because of his good history in Balkh, the father of Alp-Arsalan appointed him as a mushir. We call it counselor. And also the secretary for his son, the one who later became the king, who is Alp-Arsalan. Later, when Alp-Arsalan became the king, because when the father died, he became the king. When Alp-Arsalan became the king, he already know Nizam al-Mulk, but this time he wanted to make Nizam al-Mulk as one of the associate or joint minister. So from administrative assistant to counselor, and then to the joint minister with Amid al-Mulk al-Kanduri, the other guy, the other minister. Later, when this Kunduri died, so when the joint minister died, what happened? The other person will become the minister, right? This is where actually he became the prime minister for the Seljuk Empire. This is how he became Nizam al-Mulk became the full-fledged prime minister, or you can call it wazir, of the Seljuk Empire. So it was under Alp-Arsalan, and more than 20 years he was actually ruling. And this is where actually he was able to bring, so many changes, so many ideas. Like I told you, the system of education. And then when it comes to system of education, Imam al-Ghazali and Imam al-Haramain, these are the scholars, were one of the founders of education system. So these are the things what his position all about. Nizam al-Mulk for the prime minister, he held the reins of the empire during the rules of Alp-Arsalan and his successor of Malik Shah, especially during the rule of the later who succeeded to the throne. The period of Nizam al-Mulk life and primary ministry has been labeled as a period of change. He organized the empire and established peace and prosperity, and during his time it was known as a period of golden age of Seljuk rule. Nizam al-Mulk also emphasized on development in education, disbursement of scholarship, supplies of books, lodging, and any other necessities. See, all these things we are talking, especially when it comes to scholarships, supplies of the books, even lodging. These are the terms actually quite easy for us to understand today. That's because it's everywhere available. But we are talking about 11th century. There is no single record that the Western scholars that can show you that these kind of services were available those days. They don't even have the records. That's because they don't have the culture like we had, the Muslims had. That's why we are the pioneers of this, supplying books, lodging, disbursement of scholarship for the, because when there is a madrasa, the education system is there, definitely there is a disbursement of scholarship. So so many things was able to be done. It was done, almost today, almost 1,000 years ago. That's why we should not forget that Muslims were pioneers. of this, and the records, the books, the write-ups, the manuscripts are the evidence for this. Okay. Next, actually, we are going to talk about the economic ideas. This is where actually we are going to talk about the administrative and economic outlook of Nizam al-Mulk. We are going to talk about the nature, the basis of the government, the principle of maslaha, the principle of safeguarding welfare, the productivity, efficiency. We're also going to talk about the relationship between satisfaction of the basic need versus national stability. See, these are the things are there. We're going to talk about the economic measures, the economic equality. Most importantly, what I see his contribution comes in the land policies. This is something new. We are going to talk about it. This is something interesting that from the Western world, we know this word. It's called feudalism. So please, when you come to the next class, please find out what is feudalism. This is something great that it is distinguishing how Nizam al-Mulk was handling feudalism and how it was actually favor to the public, not favor to the lords of the feudalism. Yeah. And then we go to talk about the attributes of head of state, the role of public servant, the role of muhtasib. All right. Even he is the one who started, asking public to have a complaints. So public complaints court. So there will be a court, like today we have a consumer court, right? It started 1,000 years ago. So this is all coming. Inshallah, we will be discussing this in our next class. All right. So that's all from me.